do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah, hope I get away with it. Oh, the doo-dah day.
Hello, and welcome to Stupid O'Clock. I am not Joe Dog McKeel.
I am.
Oh, good.
Thanks for stopping in, Carl. We appreciate you having you here. Go ahead and drag Dan on up in here. How you doing, Dan? And then we got Joe and Rich down there.
Hey, guys.
Gentlemen.
I had to open with some current events of the show. I guess you saw that.
Mm-hmm. Good shots, too.
In more ways than one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I got Donna's shirt.
Both Donna's shirt.
Mm-hmm.
So how are y'all guys doing tonight?
I am hurting.
I know the
You are not the only one that was playing amateur auto mechanic today.
I realize I'm getting too old for that stuff.
If I ever met the man that designed the 2002 Buick LeSabre, he better hope he can run faster than I can fling a rock.
Yeah.
Oh.
The LeSabre had all kinds of weird designs. I mean,
yeah. Well, not only did I lose a 10mm socket inside the door where I can't retrieve it.
Oh, geez.
Oh, no.
That's okay. I've got plenty of them. I stock up on 10 millimeters because I know they're going to disappear like rabbits across a field when a dog barks. But it had my little quarter-inch drive extension connector
Oh,
for the ratcheting screwdriver that I like so much. So now I'm going to have to find another one of those,
ouch.
or get myself a slightly more slender, flexible magnet and take the door back apart again.
Probably be
Oh,
cheaper just to buy the.
taking the door apart doesn't cost anything. I mean, I know I'm an expert at that now. Um, I've even got the right tools to pop the little plastic connector things off the inside of the door lining, whatever you want to call the thing that you actually touch inside the door. Um,
Penny?
it it doesn't take 15 minutes. It's just getting into that little bitty enclosed narrow space about the size of a box of uh, a tiny box of matches through a little hole about the size of a quarter. My flexible magnet went on a little spring thing, was about a quarter inch too large to go through the hole, and I'm going, I ain't filing that thing down. No, it would have to bend. It would have to be able to turn corners.
Well, it turns corner there at the
Oh
end,
yeah.
and then you got the flashlight on there too.
Oh well, I don't.
But yeah, it's got
I'm
a
not.
magnet around it. That's Menards.
Oh okay.
Yeah. Rich has got one too. Yeah.
Yes, Cyril. The lost part will rattle in the door. I've already told my wife about it. She's not going to be going into it blind. It's her car, so
The
she
22.
already knows. She's just overjoyed about having a functioning window again. Power windows are mechanically they're fairly easy to fix, but having to work in such an small enclosed space is a little bit of a pain in the tail.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, it's a pain in my upper back at the moment. So, what you got, Richie?
So, in the process of cleaning out my office, I found one of my favorite tools that I had to replace numerous times because my wife and children would move it and not tell me where the hell they'd put it. So now the box now reads "Do not touch."
And that's going to last how much? How much time you think?
Actually, this one has lasted 5 years.
And how
Without
long
them,
of that 5 years was it hidden from you?
4.5.
No, the past 6 months because it's been packed away from moving.
Oh, okay.
But
Now
that's my
I recognize the red SATA cable. What was the other? A
that's
USB connector to power up a
IDE,
external drive.
IDE, USB, SATA transitional cable with power
Nice.
supply if it's an older drive that needs the external power.
Yep. I've got one that I paid a whopping $7 for, and it does not come with a secondary USB port to power things. It's just the connectors. It has the correct power cable linkage. It just won't soak up enough juice.
The power cable for this one is actually separate. I didn't pull that up, but it's got the brick. It's got the cable for the wall to the brick, and then the one piece plugs into that and will plug into the external, drive. And I know I had a hard drive that I needed to look at because it was packaged with it. It's over this pile somewhere.
Yeah.
But yes, it's Shoulder was feeling in decent shape today, so I'm like, I need to unpack stuff so that I don't feel like I'm about to die in a avalanche of unpacked boxes. I've been here for 6 months. I probably should find my stuff.
I've been here for almost 30 years. There's one room I dare not open.
I've been here 25, and we just found a box that we didn't unpack from where we moved two moves before.
Two moves ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, we got one or two of those, I'm sure.
Okay, yeah, it's not showing here because it's behind this side of the door. So up where you see the shelf in the closet, right next to it is two boxes that were on top of the china hutch we had in our old bedroom in the house that we hadn't gotten into in the 16 years that we lived there. And when we were moving, I brought it down and I'm like, oh, that's where that stuff went.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
All that stuff from my car 2 cars ago.
Somewhere in one of our external sheds is probably a box of stuff from the car wreck in 2007 that we've never unpacked. Just kind of shoved it in there somehow, make it fit. Give me a hammer. It'll get in there. It'll go. I can close the door now. Come on, help me push. And
Yeah.
Fibber McGee's Closet comes to mind, but that's a reference that a lot of folks are not old enough to get, unless you're into classic radio. I mean, classic radio.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I found my old CB base station the other day.
Ooh.
Could have swore I sold it 20 years ago.
Maybe you did, but nobody came and got it.
Fire it up. See, there's still people on CB.
Well, I don't have an antenna. I cut the tree down the antenna was in.
You can fix that.
Hey, Uncle
Also-
Carl can show you how to throw a coax cable up in somebody else's tree.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
or you could salvage that damn balloon and get it over your head.
Yeah, that'll work. You got a drone?
No.
Well, we can fix you up somehow. Yeah.
Nobody has the old classic D104 microphone.
Oh wow.
That's
That's an old one right there.
That's some time back there.
Back in the day, I had what was not a linear. It was called a modulator. If you keyed the microphone, it would just only go to 5 watts.
Yeah.
But when you spoke, the modulation would swing to 125.
Whoa.
I'm not sure that was legal.
No. Plus,
So
plus I lived on what was called 1,000-watt hill.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh dear.
And you were talking about the thing rattling in the door.
Yeah, it will. It's a very small space, but it is going to rattle. I guarantee it.
It'll rattle.
That's all right.
Back a couple cars ago, when I had a car instead of a van, every time I turned, the thing would go thunk. I'm like, what the hell? Either way. So I thought, is it a tie rod? What the hell's going on? Well, took it in the shop and the guy he says, come here, Mr. Witzman. I said, okay. He opens up the trunk and he said, is this maybe what's causing it? And a friend of mine had stuck his bowling ball in there, not in the bag. So every time I turned, that thing would roll the other side and thunk. I'm like, I know exactly who I'm going to when I yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, at least there, if you ever dented the trunk, it wouldn't be permanent because the bowling ball would be taking dents out every time you turn a corner.
Yeah.
That's almost as bad as the guy who quit GM The last day put those bottles in there. Pitch played hell finding this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't know he had put that bowling ball in there. I was like, what the hell? Don't ever let people borrow your car. Just
Yeah, let you know how often you open the trunk too.
yeah, well, yeah. Not unless I had to.
Oh,
Oh, I had a 1970 or thereabouts Ford Thunderbird, big old land yacht of a car,
Yeah.
and I had just got it, and the family was outside. We were kind of goofing around, having fun and everything. I opened the trunk to look inside, see what the bumper jack
Occupancy is?
situation was. I opened the trunk. I go, Jimmy Hoffa, and slammed the trunk again. Would have been the right era. Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
well, they now have a theory of what happened. He was
I
actually
had
cremated.
Okay. Is this a joke?
No, this is
Oh, okay. Okay.
this is serious. He
Oh. Okay.
he was cremated. Cremated and spread in a field somewhere.
I won't ask whether or not he'd actually been dead at the time of the cremation because
Yeah, that's not.
knowing who did the cremation,
Mm-hmm.
I really kind of doubt that.
Yeah.
It would have been the artistic touch for that
Yeah.
society.
And that's kind of unusual because they usually like to leave a message to whomever. Of course, they did because he's been gone all this time.
I believe that was message enough for him.
Yeah, man.
Getting warm in here, man.
Yeah.
Don says, by the way, nice shirt. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's one of my custom designs
Mm-hmm.
that I completely stole from somebody else that I saw on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Chris, why did you have to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Why did you have to do that?
Yeah, he posted that photo. It's in the humor group, I believe, or in Stupid O'Clock group. I'm not sure which. Yeah.
I'm sorry, as much of a fan of Sir Mix-a-Lot that I am.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now I'm going to have to go look for it.
Okay. I'm glad they finally shot the Chinese spy balloon down. They let it go long enough.
Well, I had to make sure China got all the information.
Yeah, I guess so.
No, they were on America Online. They're still waiting for the internet connection to firm up.
Well,
John? Oh, okay. I was about to ask Mr. Pica, would you repeat that in a language that any of us comprehend? Oh dear. Not to be picking at you, John, but you make it easy sometimes. You really do. I'm sorry. No disrespect intended, but
Are you due brownies still going out? Okay.
somebody been at the brownies is what I thought, but it sure wasn't us.
Not the green room.
Oh.
well, you see, the information China first received was, damn, that's a lot of Dollar Generals.
Yeah. that's all they care about.
Yeah, no, nowadays we got a Dollar General behind every blade of grass. So put that in your pipe and smoke it.
They should know by the number of $1 mops that we order from them, probably. Have you ever gotten a $1 mop from Dollar General? Like it's an emergency, you have to run down and get something real quick.
It lasts about 30 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah. You mop, about 2 foot of your floor, and the head falls off, and that's it. Okay. Yep. We're done.
Oh.
And yeah, John, we're still going at it. I mean, we just started tonight's show, so
Yeah, we're only 20 minutes in.
I know Rich was over there. Mike, Jimmy, Lorson DeBron had a 24-hour show.
Mhm.
They made, I think, 22 of the 24 hours before he and his girlfriend both nearly collapsed. They were trying to do a comic book in 24 hours, and they had 4 people scheduled for it. 2 of them had to bow out because of death in the family. So Mike and Luce is how her name's pronounced. They
carried on.
Yeah, and they almost got it done, but it nearly killed both of them to do it. And we were watching that on and off all day.
These young people, no stamina these days.
Started working on the office, and then when I turn around, I see Nita and Daphne, and I'm like, what? I'm like, I don't remember them being there.
Yeah, it was interesting, but man, 24 hours online.
My
They busted their asses.
my personal record was 32 hours without sleep.
Wow.
And I was a gibbering idiot by that time. I do not even recall. The only reason I know what I said at the time was that people remembered that it was so hilariously funny, and they had to repeat it back to me endlessly, and I'm going, I don't remember that, but I'll take your word for it. I actually did say that. So
I actually did something like that, but I ended up catching the midnight movie of The Wall before I went home.
Okay.
Guy on one side of me had some herbal elevation.
Okay.
The guy on the other side of me was hanging out with Mr. Daniels for the night. And we all 3 saw different movies sitting side by side.
I imagine so.
Surprised that the fumes from both of those wafting off of those guys didn't put you in a mood.
Well, I was like Dan said, about 32 hours into no sleep.
Don't ask me why I did that, and don't ask me how I did that. I have no idea. There was no awareness boosting material involved. I was on a tight schedule, and I had to be awake, and I had to be awake, and I had to be awake until you have seen the results of me having to be awake very often. And Joe Dog has a little pop up for that. It's like, again? No.
Well, I know exactly why I was up that long. And some people claim there's a woman to blame.
Oh, okay. I won't ask any more questions about that. I was going to blame a HallowCon planning session or something.
No. This was.
It was my fault.
This was before I met my wife.
Yeah, well, okay.
I'm glad I didn't say that.
All right, guys.
One of these days I'll actually be mature and be classed as an adult, but today is not the day.
Guys, I'm done. That car whooped my butt today.
Yeah.
You gonna bow out?
Yeah, I'm Dan, I'm tried. I at least got it started.
Okay. It's okay, Joe Dog. It's okay.
Yeah.
You got a lot of responsibility. So you need to take a day. Take a day. We'll do something.
Oh, I do want to ask Carl, what do you think of my current event opening?
Oh yeah, I like that.
Pop goes to Weasel.
Weasel being the operative word in that case.
Well, if you say it really fast, then one of Frank Zappa's boys is going to sue you. But,
All right, that's it. I'm done, guys. Thank y'all for jumping in, and I guess I'll see y'all Thursday night.
Okay.
And Dan, here's a warning: you'll probably be doing next Saturday without me.
Okay.
I'll be coming back from Atlanta just totally exhausted and unconscious by showtime.
Well, I'll make a pot of coffee. Make sure that I can function.
Hanging. All right. All right. Good night, y'all.
Good night.
Good night, sir.
Get some sleep, Joe.
I will. All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye bye.
All right. Yes, I want to leave today. Bye.
168 hours straight. A little over, actually.
Oh.
I had consumed the entire shelf of Vivarin from 3 different Walgreens in order to do that.
Why?
I was on 2 boxes of Vivarin a day because of everything I had to do at that point in my life. Granted, I was only 19, 20.
Okay. You can do that maybe once in your life.
You've had time to recover now. Don't do it again.
Yeah. You're
But
smart now.
I was also on a 2 box a day Vivarin habit at the time.
Ooh. Okay.
That's not good for anybody.
No. It's back then I was working midnights, stocking, as in putting groceries on shelves. Because I know sometimes, my dialect and stocking and stocking sound very similar.
Yeah, but
like,
the word you said, the word you said didn't have an L in it, so
yeah.
Half the time
And I can see why you need Vibrant for both. You need Vibrant for both of those activities.
So I was doing that over midnights, and when I'd get home, my best friend would be like, "Hey, let's do shit." Ah, damn it. So, and that's actually what it was, is an entire week of that. Get home from doing stuff with my friend, and the old Jeff Foxworthy, being young and partying all night thing really kicked in. You got the one leg raised, you're getting into bed, all of a sudden the alarm's going off for you to get ready for work, and it's like, all right, guess it's time to take a shower and go.
Yeah.
Donuts. By the end of that, I was laughing at stop signs for no reason.
Oh.
I was conversing with stop signs for no reason.
They were friendly.
And they answered back.
You say 160 hours?
168 hours.
After about 72 hours, the first hallucinations start, from what I've heard. Yeah.
Damn, give me 30 minutes and I can hallucinate like nobody's business.
Right?
I don't even need any chemical enhancers for my life. I mean, seriously, just my brain.
Writer brain.
That's entirely, yes, writer brain. That's entirely a good scenario. I need to write that one down. Yeah. If I could just remember how to open a word processor.
Writer brain and non-chemical hallucinations.
These are a few of my favorite things.
Wonder how many hallucinations Nick was having today with how late we kept him up last night.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Wasn't that, you guys kept him up, what, 5 hours?
He streamed for 5 hours and 9 minutes and some odd seconds.
Yeah.
But it was 5 hours 9. Oh, and also it was so freaking perfect. Nita chimes in the chat exactly at 4 hours and 20 minutes.
Okay.
Oh. Artistically placed timing.
Very good.
Couldn't have timed it better if it was planned. But yeah, that was fun. That was really fun, surprising Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were sitting over there in our unmentionable green room, and we were like, "Wait a minute! Everybody's leaving to go to Nick's show. This is a all-time low for the green room."
Well, no, it's because it's such a milestone of, Nick having the endurance to go.
Yeah.
Okay, not the green room. Have the endurance to go 4+ hours at that point in time.
Yeah.
That was like
Without
okay,
having to contact his physician.
Exactly.
let's
Just what I was
pop in
thinking.
here and see if we need some fire extinguishers in case things start catching fire.
Uh-huh.
Well, they had some really good conversation going last night, and like I said, he normally doesn't have guests on that show.
Right. Mm-hmm.
This
And
is
for
true.
my wife to be on that show with him and having the same fencing, saying he taught her,
Yeah.
and she kind of took and spun her own little style into it, and
Well, I'm sure she's a good guest too. I mean,
oh yeah. Yeah, just keep that running.
yeah.
Some of us need the reminder.
I see-
Open mouth, insert foot. Yes, I do.
I like the new little titles. I'm Grumpy Uncle Carl and all.
Oh yeah. That's actually pretty neat.
And I see all of Joe's degrees down there. Are those shows you're doing or what?
So ICD, Independent Creators Directory,
Yep, got that.
JBT, Joe Bach Tech,
Okay.
BTC, Behind the Code,
Huh?
and TBIL, The Burning is Love.
There you go.
And LSMFT.
Yes.
You got-
MUSC, Mickey Mouse. Oh,
Got your hand in there. See, always promote.
I think they promote themselves.
Yeah. I'm
What?
good at those little segues that let other people kind of promote themselves. I'm good at that. Gotta get that in there. Kiri said something here. Wait till he goes full throttle. Holy moly!
Well, I can kind of compete with that. There was the year that I was trying to earn the down payment money for the mortgage on the house. I worked every single 12-hour day they would give me. I think I had 8 days off in 6 months.
Wow.
Hey, I made a $20,000 down payment on the mortgage, which is twice what they required.
Yeah.
And I mean, I paid for 2/3 of the house before I ever signed the paperwork.
Cool.
So
The year Misty and I got married, she almost left me. That is because we had several people leave from work. So they weren't letting me hire anyone else to bring people in.
Oh,
I was the supervisor at that point in time, and they wouldn't let me make other people fill in additional hours as needed. I had 4 days off the entire summer.
I can believe it.
A lot of that was me going from Crown Point, Indiana, all the way up to Chicago. So by the time I get back, not really have the energy to drive from Crown Point, Indiana, all the way out to LaPorte to see Misty.
Oh, yeah.
So we did not get a lot of in-person time, and Richie was a very crispy boy.
Yeah.
But that's got to be really hard on a relationship. I mean, seriously, it's not long distance; it's exhaustion.
Yes.
And for some people, that's not a valid excuse. For Misty, thank God it was.
Well, the choice was because I was working 16 and 20-hour days a lot during that time frame. The choice was either I go home and sleep, or I might not make it to any particular destination without a trip to the hospital first, and having to pay for being responsible in an accident. So,
Yeah.
But
Oh.
thankfully, we found ways to make it work. We thankfully had the ability to video chat over our phones and
Mhm.
talk and stuff like that. So it wasn't complete no contact and
Sure.
stuff like that. But I'd slip out there whenever I could, and it ended up working out. I mean,
That actually reminds me of when Lindsay and I were on our long distance telephone romance right before we got together. And right after we got together, cell phones became normal. So I was doing landline long distance to New Mexico
Mm-hmm.
for hours.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
That built up a hell of a lot of a bill.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we had both had cell phones at that time, it would have been in the plan, no
Mhm.
big deal.
call
Right.
each other after 9 o'clock.
We were talking when I got off from work at 7 o'clock in the morning
No,
and
I
got
was saying
home.
back then the cell phone plans, free long distance after 9.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, I didn't know because I didn't have a cell phone, so and she didn't either.
Yeah.
But we, I had worked 12-hour nights and called her first thing when I got in to the house in the morning, and she would listen to me sleep when I nodded off in mid conversation after working a 12-hour shift at the factory.
And now she can
Y'all,
watch it.
yeah, now there's a recording. She can watch it anytime she
Yeah.
wants. Just
Yeah.
pull it up on MTV or whatever it is, you know.
Sorry.
Oh Lord.
Yeah,
But
I had a thing like that when I was younger. That I was working. I think I was in IT already during the week, and then my father had said, he was working a security job because he was retired and he was just making some extra money. He says, we can't get the younger guys to work on the holidays, so we need you. We need some folks if you want a quick, couple $100, come on over and work security. So I thought, that's easy. You just patrol around this plant at night and, shine the light around and make sure it's not on fire. And so, yeah, I did that for a while and it was an 8-hour shift, So I could do that on the weekends. So I do, my regular 7.5, 8 hours during the week. And then I do 8 hours Saturday and Sunday. Well, that was okay. Then one of the guys on the shift died so that we couldn't do 3 8-hour shifts. And the other guy said, why don't we just split it? We'll do 12 and 12. And at first I was like, okay, sure. I want some extra money. Yeah.
then you found out what that extra 4 hours added to a shift.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah. And then that was every weekend. So I was like, I'm making some good money here, but I can't spend it because I'm never home.
That was exactly the point of working at the factory back in the day.
Mhm.
This was a 8-hour shift, so you'd work 7 days straight
Mhm.
on say 7 to 3,
Mhm.
and then you'd have a day and a half off and come back in and work 7 days straight, 3 to 11,
Oh, yeah.
and have about half a day off, then come back in and work 11 to 7 a.m. for 7 days straight. And then you would get 4.5 days off, which is basically about how long it took you to wake up after you went to bed after that damn last shift. And I mean, we were making great money, and people were saving money hand over fist because nobody had the energy to go shopping.
Yeah, that's the rough part. Yeah.
Couldn't buy anything unless you stopped by a golden pantry and bought your groceries on the way home. You didn't have any groceries because you were asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
those were lovely days. I got
Yeah.
rich.
But you wonder, why am I doing this to myself?
No, every Wednesday when the paycheck came out, I knew exactly what I was doing it for. $300 a week, free and clear after taxes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And this was in the 1970s when $300 a week was a whole lot more money than it is now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's almost like $1,000 a week now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, fun. So,
Yeah. Gas cost 50 cents.
Yeah, it did. Yeah,
Mhm.
it did.
Oh, I remember.
I don't know if I told you guys, but I ended up interviewing for a new gig
Hmm.
where I would be the sole technical trainer for a new place. Well, it's an existent place, but it's a new role that they've never done this kind of thing before. And then they called Friday to offer it to me.
Hmm.
But I told them it's something I would have to talk to Misty about.
Mm-hmm.
And Misty and I have discussed it, and I'm not going to take it. For one reason, they, in our conversation with me and the a recruiter that originally approached me,
Mm-hmm.
it was supposed to start 45 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And I told them we'd still have to look at things. I have to look at insurance and things like that because
Right.
my medical issues, Misty's
Mhm.
medical issues,
Mhm.
Crow's medical issues. Insurance is a very important thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
For the package that we need, my insurance cost is going to go from about $1,200 a month to $2,400 a month.
Oh,
That's kind of a big bite.
Yeah.
615 a week from 600 something a week from 515 every 2 weeks.
Oh.
So
Hmm.
when I talked to him after my interview, because the recruiter called me and said, "Yeah, you're a really strong candidate. They're really liking you." I'm like, Misty and I were talking. We're not sure 45 is going to work, because of your insurance.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Yeah, there's room to we've got some wiggle room. I've been crunching the numbers. We can go up."
Okay.
He was not the one to call me on Friday to offer me the position. Apparently, he had a vacation day on Friday. He has a vacation day on Monday. So the lady that called me on Friday is going to talk to me on Monday. Like, okay, so we're ready to go ahead at 42. Wait, no, 45 was where we were starting. And then Tommy said there's some wiggle room to go up because, looking at everything, my insurance is doubling.
Yeah.
Well, we can't really go back to the client and blah blah blah. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, here's the beautiful thing: I could walk away. I have a job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because even though the 45 an hour is more than I'm making where I'm currently at, with everything I get with my pay and my vacation and all that, it's called on-track earnings. A friend of mine helped me figure out what my current on-track earnings are.
Mhm.
I'm taking almost a $10,000 pay cut.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yike.
For the more money, and that's just looking at just the health insurance. That's not even factoring in vision, dental, accidental disability, life, all that.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
just medical. And we're like,
Yep.
yeah.
I believe telling the lady that called you in place of the fellow you were negotiating with that, I'm sorry, I don't think I can take that big of a pay cut just to work for y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And well, the other thing is, even if the original recruiter calls me back and tries to work things out, I don't know if I want to work for a company that I was originally in conversation with him for starting at 45, And then we had another conversation for going up. And then someone else was like, all right, we're ready to move ahead at 42. And try not to have me have time to say, no, I'm not taking the job. And saying, wait, that's not the price we originally agreed upon.
Mhm.
So, I can I? And the thing is, it's 6 months to hire. 6 months contract to hire. So it's working for the recruiter's agency for 6 months to transition into the actual company.
Which is not guaranteed, I bet.
The way that the folks there at the actual company were talking, it's pretty guaranteed.
Mhm. Yeah, usually I have to screw up pretty badly to not go on to their payroll.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And the thing is, they're looking for someone to completely revolutionize their training system for their technical staff.
Mhm.
So it'd be doing stuff for their field services team. So, and it's basically getting their policies and procedures in order and creating a training campaign based off of those policies and procedures. So it's not like I'm actually going to have to be teaching someone how to do an install. I'm not going to have to be teaching somebody how to, work Windows or anything like that. So I'm actually teaching technicians.
Mm-hmm. That would be a step up.
Kind of a step sideways.
Yeah.
Because I do some of that now. But, it's. I liked what I saw as far as their company. But again, with what just happened with the recruiter, how the hell can I trust them?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt, but Gary commits these mortal sins, and I have to acknowledge that it's wit of a kind. Oh, Lord. And then I just have to applaud the artistry of being able to keep a straight face while he says shit like that.
Right.
And, yep. Now, gentlemen, auto mechanics today, I'm going to have to get a little bit stronger painkiller than comes in a little bitty pill. So I'll be right back. Y'all carry on as if Joe Dog were here, and I'm not.
Yeah. I was taking a little painkiller myself because the back. I think I sat too long watching Mike Jimmy draw, and I'm sure his back's hurting him, but he's much younger than me, so had to hit the painkiller a little early here.
Yeah. So if Joe is here, let's see. Groan. Oh God, another Rick roll. Really, Joe? You went there?
Yeah, he went there. Yeah. So, yes, I was so glad they finally got the satellite down. I have a friend. He and I listen on the shortwave radio to the weather balloons, and try to figure out where they're going to land. And it's just I don't know, one of those things you want to do before you kick the bucket. I want to chase one of those balloons down. So he and I listen to those. We watch them on this map. You can watch all the balloons on this map. And I was trying to find if that one was on there. Of course, it wasn't. It was, all secretive and everything.
Well, they want to make sure that nobody's going to get hurt. If there's something diabolical, we'll leave it at that. Attached to the device, and it's not just
right.
reconnaissance.
Well, because that had happened before in World War II.
Exactly.
So there's always that possibility, I suppose.
Sometimes the old ways are the best ways.
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably why they waited to shoot it down where they did, this went in the ocean, and they could later retrieve the pieces and figure out what it was doing. But
Yeah.
but I was like, so he found a YouTube video where pilots were calling in, to the airport. I think it was in Kansas City, and Kansas City would say, look out, there's an unidentified rogue balloon out in this area, and let us know when you see it. Let us know when you're past it. And so each plane was calling in, and one guy said, yeah, we've just seen it, and we passed it, and we gave it the appropriate salute. Okay, yeah. There was some finger waving out that window. Those pilots, they're funny. But yeah, with the
they're out of F's to give.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw.
Okay.
A couple of guys called in and said, "Is that the Chinese spy balloon?" And the guy in the tower says, "No comment." So he must have been coached by somebody not to acknowledge. But there were a couple of them that asked, "Is that the spy balloon?" No comment.
I would assume that is something that would be part of their standard training.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To provide a non-committal answer
Mm-hmm.
for things of that nature, for security and safety's sake. I mean,
yeah.
Kiri, if you rickroll me one more time, I will spank your ass.
Yeah. Don't give Carrie any attention. It just aggravates the situation.
Oh yeah. Threaten you with a good time. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know what happened to Dawn and Donna. They seem to have disappeared out of the chat. It makes me suspicious.
I just heard from Dawn actually.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I did mention last night that I had bought another case of those Hobbit sodas, and I had the lime version today
Mm-hmm.
with a couple of shots of gin
Mm-hmm.
and some club soda, and I could not tell there was any gin in these things. I'm going, what do I have to do? Fill it half and half? No, not at all. It tasted wonderful, especially when you think it's one of those things where
especially if gin's involved, if you can't taste the gin, it's got to taste wonderful. I mean,
well, I mean, seriously, it's just one of those things. But I decided that it was well worth my time to try some other flavors of the
Haritos.
Yes, Haritos.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the gem of why I called it Hobbit soda, because basically with my accent it would be pronounced hairy toes.
I found the drive that was next to the cable.
All right. And welcome, Dawn. Glad to have you. Sorry if I ignored you for entirely too long a time before I noticed that you were in here, but
those Vegas girls, like, they got quiet. I'm like, I'm sitting backstage.
I'm wondering, where's Aunt Donna?
I don't. You have to check on her on that one. I can't help with that.
She's cruising.
Mm-hmm.
She's looking for bikers.
I haven't decided what I want to put for my other little secondary line, so I'm still just Dawn.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. The right phrase will come to you. I'm not too fond of mine, but I think I probably could have just repeated the fourth word over and over and over again.
This is the title that never ends.
Hey, that's my line. Oh my! I had so much fun watching HallowCon today. That's why I'm calling it, is the HallowCon. I had so much fun watching HallowCon today.
Oh,
It was
Mike,
good.
Jimmy, and Lowe's were phenomenal and hilarious. And
Mhm. She
I was
she is quite a bundle to handle for him.
oh,
so,
she's sweet.
was this about milestones and names?
I don't know, but the kilt conversation was awesome. I thought that was
Yeah.
hilarious.
Well,
I was sitting here
of course.
going, green room fodder, green room fodder.
Mhm.
Hey, if I can find a kilt and extra fat ass, I'm buying it.
I don't know if you want to see Mike Jimmy in a kilt because he's like 7 foot tall, and the kilt would be like near eye level to you.
That depends. Is he going to wear it regimental or is he?
It's up to him.
Is he going to
I
let
mean-
you see his bagpipes?
There's not too many 7 foot tall dudes that I would argue with. I mean, seriously.
I
Yeah,
didn't
I
know
don't-
he was that tall. He doesn't. I know this sounds really funny. He doesn't look that tall on camera.
I think
He's
he's like
6'11".
6'11". Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah,
Yeah. So
got
he's
seven
an
on
entire foot taller than I am.
yeah. He's gonna come. He's gonna come to HallowCon and say, "You all look shorter than you do on the screen." Like, yeah, okay.
So I have to laugh at Lowe's saying, "You have no idea how tall he is." It's like he's an inch taller than a couple of my friends. So, no, I get exactly the angle I'm going to have to converse with him.
Yeah, yeah. Rich will have to look up at somebody. It was bad enough when I had to look up to Rich. I was like, "Whoa, holy!" Because I don't do that very often. You know, basketball
This is true.
players.
I don't do it very often either.
Yeah.
When I'm sitting there going, "Damn, that's a big boy."
Now the
Well,
milestones thing was they have little stones along the way showing the path, you know, which way to go to this city or that city, I guess. And so he
Okay.
was taking our names and changing them into an alien font, and then putting our names on those milestones. And then
Yes.
in the back of the book is a code book, so you could figure out who is who.
So
Oh,
anybody
dear.
who buys that book then can figure out whose names are on those milestones, I guess.
That's even
Yeah.
more awesome than if it was just in English.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm
really.
like, that's why I'm like, I am solidified in the comic book world now. You guys don't even know how excited I was about that.
oh yeah.
Is that just because we were watching the stream, or because of the backing, or
It was, he's
like Jimmy is freaking awesome to his friends?
Mhm.
that too.
Yeah,
But
I think it's
Call it
the
ADHD?
latter. Yeah.
Well, he said, you guys, I'm working on this one right now. And this, since you guys are the ones that have been really supportive for me, then I'm going to go ahead and put you guys in here. Your names are now solidified, or now in the comic.
Yeah.
And it was whoever was chatting with him at that point in time when he was on that, doing that particular scene to that, or that particular.
I
Okay,
can
you just
just kind of imagine what my name would look like on there, and the translation is go Dan Hallfield, 10 million light years from home. It's
My
only
bucket list.
65. It's only 65. That's why I've got a good connection.
My bucket list has only one more thing on it, and that's for me to voice something in a cartoon. My name is now somewhere in a comic book in print. We are working to get edits done so I can actually have my name on a book out there in the wild somewhere. I have an IMDb credit as voice, and then voice in a cartoon.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that honestly was like one of the coolest honors I think I've ever had in my life.
You never
So-
know. He sometimes is looking for people to voice his creatures, so he could be an alien
Hey.
bug.
You could be sitting in a booth next to Nita doing dialogue for the animated life on Korra.
That would
Play
be
your cards
exciting
right.
in and of itself. That would be exciting. I know,
And
not the green room.
And I have to write the soundtrack. Make it simple. No. I would be privileged to be able to write more of the soundtrack. That's what I really meant to say, because I admire Mike Jimmy's work a lot. I think the comic is absolutely wonderful. I've loved the few chances that I've been home from work to be able to watch over his shoulder as he does the actual animation in his computer, and the little 30-second bit that he asked me to do music for. Um, I'm I seriously think, well, I always think that whatever I'm doing right then is the best thing I've ever done, but seriously, it's right on up there with the best things that the best music I have ever composed.
Hmm.
Um, and it's not going to be surpassed by the next thing that I compose that I think is the best thing. This is an honor, and I really enjoy being part of it in whatever small way, even if he doesn't ask me to do any more. He could find much more capable composers than I, and Lord knows they're, throw a rock and you'll hit three, but
Oh, really? Cool.
oh yeah,
I got a rock.
they're oh. I was watching a canal boat video today. This British lady that's living solo on a 1928 era canal boat, and she's looking up the history of everybody that owned it before her, and she's trying to restore it to factory condition, basically, to for want of a better phrase, and. She was reading these letters from some of the previous owners, and I'm going, oh, damn, I need to write a story with a British lady as the narrator so I can get her to do the audiobook.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, seriously, she had that kind of voice. It's just. Had me excited.
Yeah, the British female accent. Yeah.
Hey, I married one. Yep.
Yeah, I know.
Dan gets to hear it all the time,
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
even if he doesn't want to.
Yes, I do.
That's a good answer. That's good. Mike Jimmy's gal Luz, she made me feel guilty for not writing while I'm watching it, So I'm like, okay, fine. So I opened up the spy novel, and because Rich and Donna were both telling me, oh, yeah, you could do this. I'm like, okay, yeah, I could. And so I wrote a little piece in the front that said, there have been some developments and some possible DNA matches, but it still doesn't explain a lot of stuff that happened in this story. Is there still a cover-up happening? You decide. And then it goes into the story after that. That's the kind of like, yeah.
Good.
Because there's
Taken from the headlines.
There's a lot of stuff that doesn't matter.
And left to percolate for 5 years, but
And I have to laugh at what they believe the gentleman's name to be.
Mr. Webb?
Carl.
Yeah, Carl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Carl Webb was the guy they think it is. And they say, well, he was in the town of Somerton Beach. He was in that town because his ex-wife lived there. He was trying to catch up with her. And I'm like, okay, what's the ex-wife's name? Where does she live? Because why did he have a book that he tore a piece out of and put in
and then throw in somebody else's car?
Yeah, it was thrown in somebody else's car, and it had the phone number of a bank and this unlisted number of this other woman that was involved. And I'm like, there's something that doesn't match here. I'm sorry, folks. You haven't explained the whole thing just by giving us a name. Nope, it doesn't all line up. So there's something else still going on there. And so that gives me enough latitude now to write the rest
There
of
are still questions to this mystery.
Exactly.
And actually, more questions at that.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
Was that a cover?
it tends to generate more questions than it actually answered.
Exactly. I'm thinking that was another cover story, another alias, So I wrote that in, actually. I wrote that into the story. I'm hoping his relatives don't sue me, whatever. Yeah.
These things, they happen. Release the Kraken.
No, Kraken. I'm trying to finish off this lovely aviation gin.
Oof.
It's not
I
that.
wish that gin actually tasted like something besides tap water. I really do.
This does not. This is not great gin. Sorry, Ryan Reynolds, but your gin, no, sorry, didn't make it. Yeah.
Don't hold a candle to Bombay Sapphire.
No, not at all.
I went up to the counter and I said, give me a pint of vodka and a pint of gin. Might as well be old Mr. Boston because I'm making a fruit punch, and I don't really need the expensive stuff because it would not make any damn difference whatsoever. And I got this thing with a Russian name on it for gin. I didn't know Russians knew what gin was, and it's not old Mr. Boston,
They've got
but
evergreens.
huh?
They have evergreens. They have pine.
Hey, this stuff, I took a sniff of it. I couldn't smell anything. I took a sip of the bottle straight from the bottle,
Yeah.
and I finally tasted a little bit of gin, but it tasted more like tap water than did anything else. So
Watered down.
I think I wasted that 75 cents on that bottle.
Yeah. If your gin's only 75 cents, you're not getting a whole lot of gin. You probably got water. Yeah.
This is even more than 75 cents.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Anybody know Jimmy Rizzo?
Never heard of him.
Can't say I do.
I'm not acquainted with the gentleman myself.
Yeah, but he's obviously a podcast critic or something. So,
Like, we need critics. I mean, all you got to do is watch the damn thing, and we got
We're our own worst critics.
we got critics coming out of the woodwork. I mean, I put out little bits of boric acid to get rid of some of the critics. I mean, that they walk through it and it dissolves their exoskeleton. So,
I forgot this is Joe Dog's show, so I gotta be nice.
briefly, yes, but we are after midnight now, so let it all hang out. No, I can't do that. No. I don't want to get Joe Dog in trouble.
yeah.
At least I don't really want to get Joe Dog in trouble, but
You just don't want to hear about it later when he gets put in the Facebook jail.
that assumes that I would listen. I've got cats and dogs. I don't have to hear anything I don't want to hear.
Did you see the little earplugs that I put in? I posted it on Facebook. They were little blue things, and they were supposedly you stick them in, and you could, like, if you were bothered by the sound of someone chewing, you could put these earplugs in, and you wouldn't hear them chewing. And I'm like, earplugs will stop a lot of sounds from getting through. It's not just chewing.
Yeah, really. Now I have to wear them at work, but doesn't mean I'm not going to notice the engines whining and my coworkers whining and
Yeah, exactly. I could have used the earplugs when I worked too. You have a problem with your what? I can't hear you. Go away.
Oh, I would have. Depending on which job it was, if I wanted earplugs or not. I have to admit, there was some days at the shelter I was like, "Oh my gosh, I hear you all, I love you all," but I need just a little break.
Mhm. Yeah, I can understand that.
Yep. Shutting up is a skill that seems to have fallen out by the wayside in modern society. There's
I
a
would have.
lot of people. There's a lot of people that whatever they think, they say.
Drops straight.
About that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's no safety valve. There's no filter. It's just thought crosses mind, thought passes lips,
Mm-hmm.
Because there's
and
freedom of speech, but people forget there's not a freedom of the repercussions or the consequences of your speech.
Mm-hmm.
well, yeah, but it's even it doesn't even fall under freedom of speech. It's just kind of uh,
Idiocy.
there there shouldn't be a freedom of verbal diarrhea, is what I'm trying to say.
Right. And there, but
The other side of freedom of speech. One of the beautiful things about freedom of speech, you can say anything you want.
Hmm.
The best part of freedom of speech is you don't have to listen to anyone exercise their freedom of speech. They're allowed to say it.
Mm-hmm.
They're not allowed to force you to
Right.
listen to it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think I would refine that statement as they're not allowed to force you to pay attention to what they say.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
You might have to hear it, but you don't have
Well,
to.
that's why I said
You don't have to let it
listen
go from
to
your
it.
ear to your brain. You can just go, filter, please.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I was working that security job, the guy I was working with, he'd come in like an hour before his shift just to talk to me in the guard shack, and I'd be like, no, not this again. But he
Oh,
always have something he was off on. And one day it was working women, the working women of the night. Okay.
oh.
Okay. So he had been, I don't know if he's following these women or what, but he had written down all the corners that they, he says, I've got all the information about these women and which corners they work and everything. And I didn't want to hear that. So I was like, well, can I see that list? He's like, well, why do you want to see the list? I said, well, I just want to know where they are hanging out, He's like, no, you can't see the list. And he shut up. I was like, thank goodness.
Uh-huh. That's a very good thing.
Yeah. I didn't really want to contact any of these women or hire them for anything because
You just wanted to get the list away from him and throw it away.
came up.
Now there was one fellow that has retired from the factory long since, and he seemed to take a positive delight when I was sitting there on break trying to read a book. He talked to me about whatever crossed his mind, not about is the book good, who's the writer, what's the plot, anything like that. No, it's more like the condition of the soap dish in the men's room or whatever, And I'm going, dude, I've only got 15 minutes. Let me read my book, But evidently, his life was so boring that random conversation with somebody that wasn't even interested in listening to him was the highlight of his day.
Mm-hmm. No, we've all known.
Now, I find that utterly tragic.
Yeah, it's sad.
some of us have been there before.
Yeah.
I do hope that with the onset of social media, he has found an audience that is willing to listen to whatever he says.
Yeah, start a podcast, dude. Start a show.
Really. Just because you got a show don't mean people are forced to listen.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, there are so many niche shows too. That there's one for everybody. You know, so
Oh yeah, yeah.
why not? Start a show. You never know how many people will be collecting matchbook cars from 1964. You know, I mean, you know,
Yeah, there's even a show out there that a bunch of nerds just sit around talking on Thursdays and Saturdays.
who'd want to listen to that crap? I mean, really?
Like,
I don't know, but I wish them luck.
Yeah.
which wall am I supposed to stare at when I break the fourth wall?
That one.
No.
Straight ahead usually works because in a comics panel, you're looking to one side or the other because you don't know where the bad guys are, and you can't hear the bad guy theme music when they're sneaking up on you.
Ooh,
Who was it? Who was it that said that life needs a soundtrack so you can hear the theme music for the bad guys sneaking up on you and go, oh, okay. I'm alert.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was George Carlin, if it was Gallagher or whom, but somebody. It was a brilliant observation.
That sounds like a Gallagher.
It sounds like a Gallagher, Dennis Leary,
Stephen
Wright.
Yeah, I was thinking Stephen Wright.
Yeah.
That would have been good. Yeah.
It does sound more like Stephen Wright than anybody else, actually.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe, look that up. That's your job right now.
Joe is probably coding some Android app that he needs to get finished.
No, actually, I've been working on stuff for the Parks Department. We have our next board meeting Tuesday.
Board meeting.
Which I'll gladly eat your hamburger today, but
so yeah, we've got so much stuff that we're trying to plan out for this year. Big thing being submitting a 5-year master plan to the state DNR. We found out that submitting a master plan to them with public input on what they like to see at the parks. What equipment would you like to see? What features? Whatever. We can then formulate a plan. There's a whole bunch of like demographic stuff you got to give for it. And once it's approved by the DNR, they send it on to the federal level. And then we are eligible for competitive grants to try and fund those projects.
So the paperwork is really important, actually.
Yes. And seeing as my budget for the entire year is $44,000.
Yeah.
And we only get about $11,000 in tax revenue each year.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, I did have a technical question for you, Joe.
Yes, sir.
I have been watching the snail-like progress on bridge repair and the little town that is closest to us. And I think they started it in October, and they have yet to get to the halfway point of getting this thing constructed, and it's only 2 lanes wide. And it does look like they're doing one hell of a good job. And the weather has been a problem, but my question is, how long on average does something that size take to tear down and rebuild?
So
it's only about 30 yards long.
Okay. So I haven't dealt with any of the smaller bridges in Indiana. I can tell you, like the one we did in downtown LaPorte, which is a very long bridge, and is 2 lanes each direction.
3 minutes that way.
took us about 8 months, roughly.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then they had to keep putting the sign back up. How many times? Or that sign, the sign and light post, because trucks kept trying to turn too tight onto it.
Oh no, only one person knocked it down.
Ooh.
The
I
rest
think
made
I got
it.
knocked down a couple times.
Nope. A lot of near misses, but
Well, that's reassuring. At least I know they're not given weather delays and everything else.
yeah,
They're not totally goofing off.
yeah. Now, and it there's other factors in that, of course. You know, what do they run into when they took the concrete off? You know, took the bridge deck off. How is the condition of the steel underneath of it?
They are pretty much rebuilding it as if it never existed.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
They're even doing new supports.
Yeah, they're doing new piles and everything.
Whoa.
So, yeah, that I could definitely see taking longer because, granted, your ground isn't probably frozen like it is out here.
Mm-mm.
Waterlogged
maybe, but not frozen.
Right. Pounding those piles in to bearing can take a while.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if there's happens to be a large rock under the ground that you don't know is there, you can be driving a pile and you're just going and going and going and, wow, we've gone 200 feet down. Why aren't we hitting bearing yet? And next thing you know, you hear someone yelling, "Hey, found the end of your pile. It's 100 feet that way, coming back up out of the ground."
Oops.
No, in this area, you are more likely to hit the foothills of Stone Mountain, which is a granite upwelling that used to be molten, but is now a tiny mountain. And about 40 miles the other direction is Elbert County's granite quarries. So solid rock is very, very close
Very
to the
easy to
surface
get
around
to.
here.
Yeah.
You could get down to something that probably could support an entire ring world or whatever on something thinner than a drinking straw.
Yeah.
But I mean, seriously, solid rock is not that difficult to find in this part of the state.
I always wonder about those smaller projects, whether they have priority to get certain machinery too, because, you know, maybe they're using all the machinery at a bigger site. And because there was a bridge they were fixing here, it took forever, but I'm sure they could not get the equipment they needed to finish the job.
Yeah. And that plays part of it. Another thing that plays a big part is what's the completion date in the contract book.
That I would not have any idea because
Yeah.
I haven't seen any paperwork for it. I'm not privy to that kind of information.
Technically, you are.
Yeah, you could go down and find out if you cared enough. I mean,
Do you know how many people at the courthouse I'd have to bribe to get some honest information out of?
Oh, you want honest information?
Even if you bribed them, they probably wouldn't be honest.
Hell, even if I held them at gunpoint, they probably wouldn't tell me the truth.
Great. Now what list did we just get put on?
Hey, it's one I've been on for decades. Don't worry. I once wrote a letter to Richard Nixon. My life has been under surveillance for God since the 70s. So I'm not worried.
Was it a nasty letter?
Oh no! It was a nice little thing about please consider funding NASA more fully, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And naturally, I wound up in an FBI watch list.
Probably.
But, yeah.
Now that you've mentioned it,
here's this hippie, 16-year-old We're gonna have to watch him.
You were probably okay unless you said, could we build one less bomber and please build, a rocket?
Oh no.
Whoa! Put him on the list.
Mhm.
I was all in favor of the old Nerva rocket engine, the nuclear rocket engine. So I'm sure that got me on a couple of watch lists right there. But and now they're actually revamping the program and thinking seriously about putting up nuclear engines for rocket application again. So, and Rolls Royce is building a nuclear reactor that will power rockets.
And didn't you?
Hey, if Rolls Royce is doing it, I'm. They got a good safety record. Let me tell you.
Yeah,
They've
Just
been
don't ask for a
building
key to look
light
under the
engines for
hood.
years.
Yeah, that's a very reputable company. They build good stuff.
My dad's name was mentioned on the government floor in the state of Minnesota this week. So I'm sure he's on a watch list or two, which,
Okay.
no, actually it was because our constituents like blah, 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 and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. So,
And one of the blahs just happened to be your dad.
yep. Because
Um,
he's a very good man, but he's very bored. So he's become very obsessed with politics.
I can't imagine being that bored.
That's
I just let him do his thing, and
I've got books to write. I can't imagine being interested in actual government. I mean,
yeah,
that takes
Yeah,
time.
Try working for the government and also being on a town board.
he was on the city council for years in the town. So I
okay.
think that
There you go.
There you go.
in other words,
Yep.
Joe, this is what you're going to be like in 40 years.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, they already have plans for me to run for the town council when the person in my ward stops running.
So you're going to be chasing them till they can't run anymore, right?
I'm gonna keep talking to her throughout this year and going, you want to run one more time.
Yeah.
They get reelected this year. She keeps saying this is the last time she's running. Which, granted, she will be 82 at the end of this next. If she gets reelected this time,
That's no excuse. You could go to 182. I mean, seriously, lady, you're doing a great job. Just keep running.
Yeah. She's the council president. She's the council person for my ward. She does a fine job. I don't want her damn job. And she keeps asking me, "Well, are you going to run when I stop?" Hell, I don't know. I said, if I do, I don't want to be council president. She goes, "Well, that's voted on at the beginning of each year." I said, "Yeah." And if the other 4 members are still there, I know they don't want it because as soon as the clerk treasurer at the opening meeting goes, "Do I have a nomination for council president?" Somebody's hand just immediately shoots up before the whole full phrase is out.
Yeah.
Going, "I nominate Sharon."
Yeah.
I said, "So no."
Yeah. It's that thing where, you're standing there, they ask for volunteers, and everybody else steps back one step.
Yep. It's actually worse in an industry.
Yeah.
Where you get voluntold you're going to be on this impromptu committee to do something improbable.
Oh, yeah.
And they go, "Who's the smartest person in the room?" And I try and find a closet real quick. Whenever I get into one of those
person
things,
in the room or the dumbest person in the room.
no, the dumbest person in the room is the one asking the question. I'm looking around going, "Oh no, you ain't rigging me into this just because I'm good at public speaking. I'm not even voluntarily good at public speaking. I was forced into learning how to do that shit."
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in charge.
Yeah,
Free KFC for everybody from now on. Okay.
I think I told you how I got off of some of those committees finally. I started telling the truth, and nobody wanted to hear that. So they were like, don't invite him to any more meetings.
That's how I got out of being asked to go to the plant managers' luncheons. Is because I had this nasty habit of actually speaking about reality.
That'll get you in trouble. Yep.
Oh, it did. It did. They never invited me back again. It's been almost 40 years since they asked me to do any of that stuff.
Good job. You got right out of that.
Hey, all I got to do is open my mouth and the truth comes out, or the truth as I perceive it comes out. And it doesn't mean doesn't mean they coincide. It just means that's my opinion. But it's still kind of inconvenient for people that live in an ivory tower dream world.
Yeah, I think I told you about as they had hired us. There were 4 of us in this job, and there were 2 of us that they didn't want at most of the meetings because we would just speak our minds, and then the other 2 guys were invited to the meetings after us because it's basically these guys will just sit there and nod their heads. That's what we want.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, then don't ask me to come then, because
there was a fellow that a musician that titled his album because that's what the music executives expected him to say to their every idea.
Okay.
I do believe it was John Cougar Mellencamp, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
Oh, we have another willing sacrifice.
Hi, Gary. I still can't remember that damn joke. Dumb joke.
Which dumb joke?
The one I was going to tell her last night, and I can't remember.
It was so dark. There were so many. Oh, wait a minute. Well, we're not talking about my love life. We're talking about the dumb joke. Okay.
And then we come to come to that.
Thank you.
How's everyone doing tonight?
Please. We are one Joeless, but not the other.
Yeah,
So
shooting in
we're
right as they
we're
was
limping
leaving.
along. We have no actual moderator.
They
So,
added a Dawn's. I don't know why they did that.
Hey,
Better than we were about midnight last night.
after midnight, gonna let my hair hang down.
I'm not glad I went to bed when I did.
Yeah.
It could be. It last
It was
night
a
did
very
get a little
comfortable
bit
Heated?
less than shallow, shall we say?
Very, very compatible moment.
Compatible?
Yeah.
Kumquat
That's
is
what I
now the
hear.
verb.
Yeah.
Compatible.
Kumquatable.
There were conversations, but thankfully,
He kumquats, she kumquats, they kumquat, we kumquat. They have kumquatted.
thankfully, in the
We
conversation I
kumquat
had
here,
in
kumquat
mind,
there.
there was a meeting of the minds and a little bit of agreement there, so things were less tense than they were before.
That's good. That's good.
So
We always try to work for consensus of some sort. Yeah.
Well, it helped that honest feeling was expressed instead of pretending.
Yeah.
And I've found that when emotions are involved, it's frequently less trouble to just say it rather than try and conceal it like you didn't have any. So,
Well, I still don't understand these human emotions, but okay. Whatever you say.
Have you checked on Donna, by the way?
She's still awake.
said,
Yeah. She just replied a few minutes ago.
Did she?
She just said, "Hey, Carrie. Hey, Carrie." So, yeah, she's awake.
Donna.
She's surprised that I'm awake.
Oh yeah.
Donna.
And she's probably going to take my place when you go to Last Man Standing because I will go to bed because I got to go shopping tomorrow and find out how many.
That's a likely excuse.
How many items are missing from the shelves?
Oh,
damn it, Donna.
Well, we did today. I needed a nap after it.
oh, Donna.
Now,
How could we
each
ever
series
forget
stuck in my
about you,
head
darling?
To the tune of "Hey Mickey" by Tony Basil.
That was actually just on.
What?
Hey Mickey.
Hey, Mickey. Yeah.
Oh, hey, Mickey.
It's
Yeah.
on whenever you like on YouTube. I mean, seriously, you just type it in and it's there.
It was on MTV Classic.
Oh Lord, yes.
Right now, it's Men at Work. Who can it be now? So I mean,
who can it
Yeah,
be?
yep.
Now? Sure as hell ain't us. We're here. No, it's not us.
You know, I
Might be
find it
Donna.
absolutely regrettable that they got screwed over so badly over the folk song bit about Kookaburra sits in the old whatever
Seriously?
the tree was. Yeah, they got screwed over by that. Somebody sued them because it was a folk song,
What?
and it hardly ever gets radio play now.
Mm-hmm.
But they lost a huge chunk of money over whoever owned the copyright to the folk song going, oh, you can't do that.
Really?
We own it. Yeah.
Oh, must have been a
Yeah.
particular arrangement they got too close to. Maybe.
I'm not sure. The flute player is the only one that puts it in there in the song. And then all of a sudden, I own that. You can't play that. You're going to have to pay me. And they wound up losing a large bucket of money. And it hardly ever gets radio play anymore, even though it's one of their best songs.
I didn't even know they had laws like that in Australia and New Zealand. I mean,
I think it was international actually, but I'm not sure if it was Australia based, but it could be, and I just am ignorant, which is nothing new to anybody that knows me.
Well, I didn't know there were kookaburras anywhere else. I mean, you know. Yeah, when was the last time you guys saw a kookaburra?
Never.
Yeah.
Because I'm in Georgia and not Australia, and I wouldn't even know.
They just happen to find the only people.
New Zealand.
I wouldn't even know what one looked like, although I probably know what they sound like now.
Yeah.
Because it's become this folk icon thing.
Yeah, they must have hit the nerve of the two people that actually gave a crap about kookaburras.
No, it was the one person that had given a crap about buying up the licensing rights to folk music in Australia. And they did it because they knew somebody's going to use this stuff sooner or later, and we're going to make a bundle.
Yeah.
And that worked for them. Yeah. It really did. It worked for them. They made a bundle. And Men at Work got shafted, basically. It's a good song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody buy the album so you can listen to it in the privacy of your own home. Don't call in and request it on the radio because royalties to the wrong person.
Yeah.
People suck. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, they do.
Overall.
They do. Well, individuals are amazing. People as an aggregate, as a collective,
not so much, yeah.
As a fucking species, they're somewhat less than admirable. Okay, let me
Yeah.
put it that way. Now that I've already gotten Joe Dog completely defunded for the next 50 years.
I'm
I'm
not
sorry,
gonna get it.
folks.
What
I
is Joe
talk
Dog
the way I
sitting at?
talk.
He's sitting at 151 subscribers.
I don't know.
I don't think he has to worry about defunding or funding anytime soon.
I don't even know how many subscribers I've got.
Yeah.
Probably 20.
We could look. Hang on. I think I've got 14 now.
You know, I'm grateful for everyone that there is, but I do this because it's fun. I'm not trying to make money off of this. Buy my book.
36,
Always
30
promote.
36, Dan.
Always promote.
36?
Yeah, you're
Oh
doing
my-
much better than me.
There are 36 demented people on this planet that enjoy what I do. Oh my
Oh,
god.
holy crap! I've got 20,
Well,
which is like 17 too many.
I only have like
See?
54 on my YouTube and 700 on Twitch.
Holy moly! Yeah.
well, Dan, for yours, one of them is a split personality because it's both my pages.
Mm.
Wait, for Dan? It's possibly that it's my split personality too.
Hey, I don't care. I love you both. Thank you. I love
All
all
four of
four
us,
of
you
you. Thank you. But, you know, but between the two of you, I love all four of you. And actually, in my writer's brain, that made sense. But then I write time travel stories, so
Yeah.
actually, that probably should have been all six of you because it's the past, the present, and the future. So,
Don't get too deep into this.
we're going down the wrong leg of the trousers of time here.
Yeah,
Right.
you can hurt yourself.
Yeah, and it's we were talking about how people, as a collective, suck.
Well,
But it's
that-
like you see, like today. I mean, that was just really neat to see those two people come together, and there was a lot of like could haves and would haves and should haves, and they just did, and it was like I wanted to be there for it just because it was such a positive thing.
Mm-hmm.
We need more positivity in this life, and that's what was just I was addicted to the positivity of it.
Yeah.
which is a good addiction to have, actually. You get fewer highs from that addiction than you do from, oh God, people suck. But still, being able to find the joy in life, whether it's yours or someone else's, and you're being vicariously joyous on their behalf. It's like a lost art.
Yeah, well, and I think as Carl said during the thing that you don't have to necessarily like X, or maybe it was Rich. I don't remember who said it.
Yeah,
You don't have to like X to appreciate X.
Oh yeah, Rich said that. Yeah, because I had said I don't even like comics, and I'm still watching the show about comics for hours because I like the people who are doing it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I've not bought many comics, but I've bought them from people who I've seen here and about, and some of them I haven't even opened yet. But just because I like those people, I want to support those folks, and I'm in a place where I can, so I'm going to do it.
Well,
That's
other
where the
thing
joke
is-
was about me hitting Michaela up for money because I want that book now.
It's also a beautiful thing to watch because it's someone else going through the creative process, and you see how it works for them, even though it's a different medium.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
creative
yeah,
process is
yeah.
still the creative process.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like watching a painter at work, but there are extra steps involved.
Yeah. Watching some of these guys, I ordered one of those little tablets that you draw on, and it goes on your computer. And I'm going to use that for my photo editing. I do my memes and stupid stuff like that. So watching watching like Mike Jimmy use them, and then watching somebody else use it, I'm like, oh, okay, I could use that technique on a photograph to fix a
Mhm.
photograph.
Yes, yes.
You
There
learn
are
a
there are a lot of things that you can apply to different
Mhm.
media, but you can use the same device that those people are using for their particular media.
exactly.
And
Exactly.
that's one of the beauties about um, being
This
alive
friend
these days
circle.
when you've got these devices that you can play with and do things that nobody ever expected to be able to do before.
Oh yeah.
And it's not about competing, it's about learning and sharing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing about this friend circle is one, it's so supportive of our various crafts and their various flavors and stuff like that. Um, but there's so much to learn, and then it's like, oh hey, like Jimmy's doing, that's kind of cool, and I'm not an artist of any major import. I like doodling. I like getting images out of my brain and onto paper and stuff like that. But watching him, I'm nowhere near the man's skill level. He is light years beyond what the hell I could do. But it's still watching it. You see him lay down the base and then build from there,
Mhm.
and then you can watch and go, okay, I can do that. I can do that. I have to practice a while before I can get to there.
Mhm.
And
That's one reason why I like watching Joe Bachman do the wood burning videos because he starts out, you can see just a bare sketch of an idea,
Mhm.
and he goes in there and you not only does he do the thing in front of you, he is not kind to himself when he makes a mistake of any kind whatsoever. And you get this insight into the mind of an artist, you
Mhm.
know.
and um, like Jimmy was getting very Bob Ross earlier and the early pencil stages, and he's like, yeah, if you can just be able to see things in these basic shapes, squares,
Mhm.
cubes, circles, spheres, stuff like that, you'll be fine. And when it's time to change, that Peter Brady moment there,
Pass the
um,
applesauce.
you'll be fine.
I got to go down the hall, but I'll be right back.
But that was an excellent thing to watch and listen to and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
that's why I made that comment. Like that is so a Bob Ross thing,
Mhm.
and it's so. Oh, that's gorgeous, Joe.
Oh, he's been burning while.
Well, no, this is one that I started working on. I'll turn that light off so it shows up a little better.
Oh yeah.
This was what I was supposed to be burning Wednesday night when my father-in-law's house decided to burn instead.
Whoa!
What?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Didn't hear about that. Oh, is he
Um,
okay?
yeah, he made it out.
Oh.
Actually, it was a blessing in disguise. Uh, pretty sure it's the first house fire to actually save someone's life.
Not the
Hmm.
first, but very few.
Right.
Wow.
They took him to the ER because smoke inhalation and he
Yeah.
has COPD. So take him to the ER, get him checked out, and nurses kept coming by about every 10 minutes, going, "You feeling okay? You got any chest pain?"
Oh
You know,
no.
he's like, "No, I'm fine." Don't know why you guys are coming by every 10 minutes. And turns out that the heart monitor was throwing some weird signals.
Oh.
And so the doctor said, well, tomorrow we'll go through, we'll check out your heart real quick, just make sure it's all good. So they send a little probe up his wrist and everything and get over to his heart. And yeah, 100% blockage on the right side, 70 to 80% on the left.
Holy moly.
Had no shortness of breath, no nothing, just,
So
going
there
to,
was no sign at all.
yeah, no sign at all.
Wow.
So they did a little rooter on the right side the first day, threw in some stints, and next day they did the left side. So,
Wow.
but yeah, this is one that I'm actually doing for the wife.
Oh.
Um,
Okay.
we had found there's a thing online. It was a picture of one of the Ents from Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
And the caption said, what do you think would have happened if the Ents got a hold of the One Ring?
Mm.
And so the text that I'm getting ready to burn in below it is something somebody just kind of came up with. It says, stones will break and roots will squeeze. Vines will grow and bend all knees. Mushrooms hunt and thorns yoke. Weeds strangle and flowers choke. The age of skin is done. The hour of bark has come. Borum.
Whoa.
Ooh.
So
That was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't use the picture of the Ent,
Yeah.
mainly because I don't know who originally drew it. But also couldn't get just a good copy to try and burn from. So Nick always tells me, hey, if you need something drawn up, let me know.
Oh, okay.
So I sent him the original picture and said, can you give me an Ent with the One Ring on? And let's see if I can actually. Yeah, there we go. Bring that up a little bit
Oh,
closer.
yes.
So
Yes, exactly. I can see that.
yeah.
Hmm.
So did the top half, and now I still need to do I gotta do the words. The words did not transfer great at all.
Well.
And that's a lot of verbiage to put on something.
Yeah, that
size.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like doing any other poem.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to pre-plan the space.
Mm-hmm. And it's also in my wife's handwriting using a calligraphy pen
Ooh.
because she wrote it, and I scanned it in and put it onto the Swift publisher that I use on my Mac to create all these little things. And yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, you mess that up, you're going to be single.
Oh, I messed this one up. I've got about 20 other pieces of wood over here to my
Yeah.
right.
That's the
Yeah,
good thing.
yeah, but she can't see any of the mistakes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
That's something I was interested in for a couple of weeks. I was watching every video on how to transfer photos and drawings onto like mugs and glasses.
Mhm.
And people were using various chemicals, and you'd watch one and they'd say, well, I use this, and you'd watch another one, no, I use this, and it's like, okay. But it was a fascinating process. Not that I need any coffee mugs. Before Donna says anything, I don't need any more coffee mugs. She tells me that every other day. But or photographs, because our walls, we can't hang any photographs on. They're like almost concrete. So it's like, okay, well, this is an interesting thing to watch and to learn from in case I wanted to do something similar,
I meant to ask you, Carl, did you take down the green room sign, or did Calvin finally get it?
I took it down as a preventative. And, I have sign hanging from my little thing here. Then I thought, well, maybe I'll put it up on Fridays only.
That works.
Well,
Because otherwise it will get played with, it will get torn or
It's the
hit.
greenhorn's version of the white towel on the doorknob.
here is a measure of how good y'all are for my psyche. It's my second cigarette since Stupid O'Clock started.
Ooh,
Oh,
okay.
I did not even realize I wanted another one until just this minute, and we are 6 minutes away from the end of the show.
Wow. Yeah, I started another cigar just to
Holy cow.
have something, but
Hey, one of these days I'm going to wise up and quit. Hopefully, within 6 months after my death, but
yeah. Well, I told you, cigars did kill my grandfather. It took him about 82 years, but they finally got to him.
Hmm.
It's not
Yep.
to mention also the drinking and womanizing too, but it
Oh
finally
yeah.
got because the people were telling me, you don't you think cigars will kill you? And I said, yeah, probably by the time I'm 82.
I had a lady that was into reading palms and tarot tell me that basically I had nothing to worry about until I accidentally crossed one jealous husband too many.
Oh,
So
well, there you go. You just got to be
uh,
careful.
I'm going, oh, okay. I'm never fooling around with a woman that doesn't live lower than the third floor. Okay.
Luce did
No.
say today that she's like, when HallowCon comes, that she's gonna have to try to explain why all these women are hugging her man, and we all said, well, you're gonna get all the hugs too, so you better behave.
Where's the fun in that?
Because Mike Jimmy doesn't need to be having it himself getting in trouble over here.
Might be good for the boy. We don't know.
He's got him a redhead, so he's in trouble. And
He's in trouble no matter what happens.
we're watching this show, okay? And Donna comes in here and she says, "Is it just me, or am I kind of like seeing myself?" And I said, "Yeah, that's a younger you." So I told him, "You're sunk, boy. Sorry, you're in big trouble."
Enjoy the ride while it lasts.
Mm-hmm.
Which has multiple meanings, but we're not going to go into that here.
Where's your sign?
We've got over 30
sign?
years, so.
Rich, where's your sign? There you go.
But
Here's your sign.
here's the thing, if he's got gills, being sunk is okay. He'll still be fine.
Unless you're a dolphin, then you don't have guilt. Well,
I can't make
Guilt.
that joke here. I'm sorry. There's a perfectly good joke that I cannot make.
I'm
give it
just
3
fine.
minutes
It
and make it
hurts.
on your own.
Yeah.
Please stop giving me straight lines.
Not the green room.
Yes, I know. That's the problem.
You're about 3 minutes from trouble, because then Donna will take my place. And
Now, basically, let me see if I can find this thing. Oh Lord, I didn't scroll down far enough.
Just for
no, that's
just for Joe Dog's shirt tonight. I will say that's what she said.
uh-huh. It's okay. I finally found it. Uh, 2-minute warning. Get your stuff together. We actually do have to play the outro to get High Flight in here so that I can get Last Man Standing started on time, which is not that important to me, but I do want to have to do it before StreamYard goes, oh no, too late. You got to reschedule. Bugger that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
seeing that,
that's the intro.
Seeing that, it's almost in the show, and how it reminds you kind of Laugh-In from the old
Yes,
days.
exactly.
A friend of mine shared a photo of the backstage of when they did the Doors. They'd open the door and tell a joke and then close the door.
Oh yeah, the comedy wall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this was a photo taken from behind that wall. So you see the backside of Judy Carn, Goldie Hawn, Joanne Worley, and those mini skirts they wore on the second floor. Okay.
Sir, you interest me strangely.
And I'm like, that would have been my perfect job. Just to stand back there and make sure nobody fell.
Yeah, right.
Oh, man,
Nobody fell.
That's a
that is a
And you had a
good
place for them to
excuse.
land.
Mhm.
That's a green room statement if I've ever heard one.
On
Come on.
that note, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
God.
Oh, I have slipped the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up, up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace, when never lark nor even eagle flew. And while with silent, lifting mind, I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touched the face of God.